there's no doubt that a very, very nasty experience can leave someone very seriously affected. It can leave them psychologically disturbed. They can be very hyper alert, always on edge. It can again disturb sleep and so on. People can have flashbacks to the events and so forth. And that's quite well understood, and we read about it a lot in terms of post-traumatic stress responses and so on. But what we sometimes forget is that people can run into problems not because of one big thing, but because of lots and lots and lots of tiny little things either happening in quick succession or pretty much all at the same time.
We are living in a heightened sense of anxiousness about getting from A to B and getting through the traffic, getting up and getting through breakfast fast enough to get to work. Life becomes far more anxious. The things that we do in life have far more anxiety associated with it. Even if you're going overseas, on a holiday, you're anxious about getting to the airport in time, anxious about getting the seat you want, anxious about who's going to sit next to you, anxious about your hotel. Where you are, life is lived at a fast pace, and there's the pressures about how things are going to work out all the time. We are anxious about life.
I mean, just taking a typical life of a mother who has to dash around, getting her kids to school, an unsupportive partner, perhaps not even a partner. The constant pressure of how much money have I got, will I be able to buy that? Will I be able to go to the doctor? Will I be able to afford the school trip?
They then worry about the fact their life seems to be getting out of control, which creates even bigger problems, interferes with the ability to think clearly, which means we can't solve our problems very well, which means life gets even more out of control, and not surprisingly, someone ends up with quite serious problems, self-cutting, anorexia, whatever. And when we ask what started it, there doesn't seem to be anything that would justify it starting. No one event is anything we shouldn't be able to say, hey, no, that's okay, happens to a lot, get over it. But the combination, all at once, is enough to leave somebody feeling as though they're just floundering.
I think as society becomes more and more complex, to understand society requires more and more time, and to participate in society requires an awful lot of time. Literally getting to work requires a lot more time than it used to, especially if you're travelling by car in Auckland.
The problem we run into is that no two people have anything like the same experiences, and my general impression from most of the people I've talked to over 20 odd years of working with people with a wide range of problems is that for the overwhelming majority, if I'd been through what they've been through, I'd be doing what they're doing now. And yes, there are common factors in some of these things, but they're common factors often of experience. The person in the eating disorders context who says that their life is just getting out of control. Now, what aspects are getting out of control and what's important to them may vary the world over, but that underlying common factor of feeling that life has just got completely out of control, I now want something I can control in my life. And think about it, there's not much you really can control completely. You can't control anything that involves other people, because they may not do the right thing. You can't control anything that involves the weather or whatever, because that won't do what you want. You can't control what you eat, and you can have total control over that. And it's not surprising that if you push someone into a situation where they're desperate to take control of some part of their life because the rest of it's going all over the place, then things like food and eating and body shape are one of the few things we really can actually get control of entirely within our own hands.
Younger generations, I'm seeing this absolute, it's almost like a despair, a need to rush through school without really savouring or enjoying the learning process, or the fact that this is the only time in their life they have all these people there for them to be able to teach them all these subjects.
We don't, for the most part, talk very much in society about these kinds of problems, about stress, about the traumas and problems people encounter and the effect it has on them. The result of that is that something horrible happens to someone, they experience perfectly natural consequences, but they don't realise they're natural, they don't realise it's how lots of people respond, and then they start to worry about their own response. Typical example, person has heart attack. After the heart attack, their sleep's disturbed, they're recovering from the heart attack okay, but they keep having lots and lots of very unpleasant nightmares, feeling they're fighting for breath, whatever. That then frightens them because they think they're going crazy, because they think that it's just a warning sign of something or whatever. What they don't realise is that probably every other patient in the waiting room when they go for their checkup is having the same experience.
Most of us tend to skate on the surface of life, and our depth of living in terms of considering who we are and what is meaning in life and what are our values, and actually living out of a clear awareness of who I am and what is meaning in life and where am I going and why am I going there. Because there's not a lot of depth and substance in that area of our life, it's not an area we give a lot of consideration and time to. It means that when something does go wrong, and when the ice of that thin surface of our life suddenly cracks or breaks through something unexpected that comes in, we are left ill-equipped to cope with that. And I think a frequently unattended aspect of mental health is that reflection upon who I am and what is life all about, and examining what my values are and why are they my values, and actually beginning to live in harmony with them. If those things were a greater part of our way of life, I think mental health would not be such an issue in terms of causing problems in society and people's behavior, in families, and the way that we live and work.
More and more people are presenting with these issues. Now, the World Health Organization has stated that within the next 10 years, depression will be the #1 health challenge that the world faces.